centers, right? Because we have customer service, which is a new line for slavery too, and we're gonna spend upon that one in a while. But in the specific case of factories, they were off the hook by the 70s. So we have two phenoms that are coming up, which is the call center and the retail business, right? And throughout the 90s, everything is fine, but throughout there comes this idea in which I'm gonna be checking it out, which started this saying that the customer is always right. It started around the 1960s and the 1970s as a way to get a pitch, right? To make you feel that you are it right, you are in control. So what you're thinking of buying, you may think it is your own decision. It was supposed to be a psychological game to gain some leverage and try to take control of a situation. It wasn't meant so people cemented it into their minds and started behaving like assholes when they go to stores, which is what we are seeing recently, specifically from the year 2010 onwards, in which we have more and more recorded cases of clients trying to abuse customers. But it doesn't happen in fast food joints, it doesn't happen in the mall, it just happens everywhere. Because another area that has got really affected by this deformation of clients has been also the customer service industry, specifically if you're a teleoperator, you're working in a call center, right? So people who work in call centers, I used to work in a call center around 2004. So when I was working there, you could have a call, maybe two, in a rough week, I could say like three calls in which the person on the call swore, like, I'm fucking pissed about this, I don't like the offer, and it was like once, and from, let's say for example, three, one of them stood like 10 minutes apologizing for swearing. That was 2004. Move forward the clock to around 2010 onwards, you have customers who start swearing from the beginning, who are insulting, who are threatening. I returned a couple of years ago to a call center, and I even saw situations, mostly heard, to be correct, in which there were customers that were like threatening call operators, and it was really weird, and it was like virtually from three customers a week, virtually like 80% of my calls, they were people swearing, and they'd even let you talk, like you didn't offer a solution, you haven't said shit, and they're like swearing and fine, and it's not the best way, to treat, because you people have to remember that on the other side of the line is a human being who's taking this beating, and it is an emotional beating, and starts charging it more. And the thing is that when you think of call centers, you think it's easier for the customer because they don't have the person in front of them, because you tend to believe that there's a sense of respect still standing, which is not. You still believe that because we're going that onto the retail workers in on a while, and the thing is that it is normal, it's a telephone call, he doesn't know, even though that's the stupidest mistake that you can make, because a call center worker has your information, has part of your credit card, has part of your SS, and not completely, mostly the last four digits of each one to identify that it's you, but there's your address, and mostly your phone number and your email. So there's all this sensitive information that if you piss this person off, fortunately, I think it hasn't happened. Maybe it has. But you can get that person nuts, and that person can go and kill you if he knows that you're nearby. So, because you have to remember, there's a human being on the other side of the line, and we are constantly forgetting about that. And the thing that the pressure that call center workers, I've seen, I thought it was only in Puerto Rico, but I've seen videos from the United States of people being taken out in stretchers something that I lived here. It's not very far fetched from what I've seen on the web, but it shouldn't be that way. And the way that call center workers, they have it the worst. They have become the new factory workers for this century. They are there constantly taking an emotional beating, and then maybe you're hearing this and they're, well, maybe they shouldn't be so incompetent. The thing is that, for example, I used to work in a telecommunications company, so you get you get briefings all the day, and then you have all these charts, and it's like constant data. A person is human; is allowed to make a mistake, and you don't. I have talked to people who are not dicks about it. It's like, there was a mistake that was made in my account. I asked for something. In that case, if that worker gets busted, it is his problem because he needed to solve that. But start insulting the whole personnel of a call center, I think is uncalled for, and I think it really speaks bad about the human who's claiming the service. Oh, I'm pissed. I have this emotion, but why take it on a stranger who has shit lots of workload, maybe way more than you do, and then you're taking it out on a human being that you don't know that is there to try to fucking help you, but you are dissing that person away. And the thing is that call center workers need to be treated better. The worst part of this equation is the fact that they also are not getting, even though this is going on, they're not getting love from their employers. For example, in Puerto Rico, a really renowned call center, I remember that throughout the pandemic, they gave their employees food for 3 days, but they were shoving that fact to their faces in separate, like, impromptu meetings inside the call center for like 2 weeks, I think almost 3 weeks. The main manager of the contracting company, the main bosses of the call center, everybody was like, "Oh, you are ungrateful that you got food for 3 days." For example, when I was working somewhere else, right? And where I was working, I got paid my meals all the way from March through May, and nobody was like, "Oh, did you get your meal? Oh, do you remember that we are your boss and we got your meal?" No, I never got something like that. And these motherfuckers, they gave them food for 3 days, and they're shoving up their faces for 2 weeks. This very same call center, even they were COVID-19 leave absences, they suspended them. They were above the COVID-19. They didn't give a flying fuck about that. They were sending them home, but strictly saying to them that they were going to need them in the call center. And the thing is that they need them in the call center because it's a part of their contract. And since, even though the pandemic is going on, they're not having those employees inside the call center, that's a breach of contract, which gives the right, the person who are getting the service, the right if they want to go somewhere else. The thing is that they were, in a way, threatening employees that they were going to get them all in June. This is a call center which has a capacity for 200 people, all together meshed in it during a pandemic situation. So these very same people, right, if you can call them that, they didn't stop there. There was people there are people now, the people who work there who are parents. They have to be with their children. There's no school. You have to supervise your kid at home, and they weren't given the amount of hours. Even if they were not given the amount of hours that a parent was asking to work and work with his child, they were like also freezing times. And the treatment of employees inside of a call center mostly is like they're crap. They're just a number. They're liability. If he or she quits, we will get 5. We have 10 to 20 or maybe 30 in the same training, and well, he's gone. But from this bunch, there should be like 5 that will do this job or even better. And there's no incentive. The salaries are really, really low. For example, the one I was talking previously, that one pays $8 an hour, and that's it. Supervisors make around $10 to $11 an hour, something like that. they're pushing misery onto those workers with all the shit that they have to take, and that's the reality of call center working in Puerto Rico. It goes like that. I think the highest one that I've seen goes around 12 to 13, but you go and see the reviews on Glassdoor of that place, I don't even want to get near that. I think I'd rather starve to death before going to that call center. It's like $13 an hour, but the experiences are so miserable. I don't even want to stand next to that place. That shit of a place that must have the worst vibes ever. And it's really funny, but you know, I went to another one that is starting like asking for a drug test. What the fuck am I gonna steal inside of a call center? I'm gonna steal a cup from the coffee machine. I'm gonna steal Brando's lunch. What the fuck? Having a drug test for someone who's gonna go work, sitting down. Let's reflect on this. Sitting down. This person will be sitting down, taking calls, and he's not operating a heavy machinery that can hurt someone else. He's barely even moving his hands back and forward. So what the fuck is the problem? And that's another bullshit. Because many states that have legalized marijuana, they also keep on the drug testing. Puerto Rico is another is another fucking stupid sample. And I have to say it like that. Even though I'm a Puerto Rican, I do not deny it by any chance. But the thing is that the fact that we have to go through drug tests, even though there's a medical marijuana program that works with the Department of Health, which is not recognized for almost half of the medical community of Puerto Rico, and that's another fact. But they use drug tests. Why do I need to put a drug test on a person? And this is another complete different case. This is another complete different call center, which has high amounts of stress. In fact, I see a drug test from there, and you gave me a positive of marijuana. You're halfway through. You got halfway of your training. You got halfway of not letting people fuck you up emotionally, because it's draining. People do not tend to respect. People do not tend to work around of it, and it's really draining. Well, just checking some facts over here. I need to breathe on that one because I lived the experience in which you have a number, and I want to close on the call centers on this part that you have metrics, and they designed this metrics so that you will constantly be failing on one area. You have to give a great service metric. But great service is something that I've known that takes time. You can do it in a fast way, but you're going to fuck up on some other way or another. So what you need, when you have a time rate, but you have also a service rate on a metric, it is really hard to get to be outstanding inside a place like that. And so it becomes sort of a slaving environment. And it really sucks because when I started, it was like the boom. It was like starting the whole boom of the call center era, and it was like great treatment. Everybody was happy. Well, everybody was mostly drunk, but the thing is that what it turns out to be, it really sucks. So the thing is that as we were talking earlier. The thing is that you have the worker on a call center, which is in an area that you cannot see the person face to face, so you will be a little bit more brave, to be the man or the woman of the hour. But you think that will not happen to retail workers. I happen to also work on retail, and you could have a nagging customer every now and then. But it wasn't so much of a bad experience. Now you have people who are actually being aggressive and hitting another people, like being completely violent to another people. We have seen tons of videos of McDonald's, and even though sometimes they seem to be funny, there's a person who's carrying an immense amount of stress to his house, and that immense amount of stress has serious consequences on the health of that person. So when you look at this situation really closely, it is really messed up. Really messed up. So it's not only that, it is just that in retail it has escalated so much because you see those videos and you think that those are like insulated,